Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's time for another live stream, and it's happy hour today. We've made it not to the end of the week, but close enough to the end of the week. It's Thursday, August 27th, 2020. I think yet another day, maybe the second or maybe the third day in a row, that local schools here are ending early, not because of coronavirus concerns, but because it's hot. So they're sending the kids home early. I wouldn't know. Our kids aren't going to school here in Iowa. They're still enrolled in, one of them is enrolled in public school. The other one was going to be enrolled in public school, preschool, but we're pulling her out. So she'll do preschool at home and then go to kindergarten next year in person, hopefully. But anyway, that was a small aside. But it is happy hour today. I've got a Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, and I feel like this is probably going to be the last kind of like round of shandies that we buy here. And that's because I feel like summer's like almost gone. It's supposed to be cooling off today, although it's getting really hot right now. It's supposed to be cooling off today. And after that, I don't think that we're going to get many more hot days anymore. So I think that like we're on like the end of like the summer heat, the part of the summer where I actually want to drink shandies. So cheers. Let's see what else is here. Let's see what's going on here. We got Carlos Cejas, Frank LaHoulier, Terrence Huey. Terrence Huey says no beer for him today. I had a little too much yesterday. All right. Well, drink some water. Get rehydrated. Luz Becerra's here. Chan Zhao's here as well. Steve. Martha's here. Inez Dunbar. Mark Chang Coco. Lanier. Stevie76. Chairman of the Happy Hour Subcommittee is here. Present, Sean Marshall, JC. My mom's here coming in from New Jersey. Hi, Mom. T. Davis. Awesome. What's going on? J. Page says, hi, all. Hurricane missed Houston, so going for a run after the stream. I'm glad. I was worried about Houston. Well, I mean, I'm worried about everyone that was in or is in the hurricane's path because it just ramped up from like, oh, it's going to be a Category 2. And then suddenly it was like, oh, yeah, it's an unsurvivable nature event. And so I feel like, I mean, I wasn't paying too close attention to it, but I feel like things escalated very quickly. So I was very concerned about that. And I was wondering for all our Texan friends, and are there people listening in from Louisiana? I don't know. I feel like there's always a really strong Texas contingent, and I'm very appreciative about that. I'm not so sure about Louisiana. I don't know if I've ever noticed. I mean, not that I kind of do a roll call, but I've never done like, hey, tell me where you're from. So I don't know if people are here from Mississippi or Alabama. We got some people in Florida, but I don't think in the Panhandle area. So those are the areas that I was thinking about. So J. Page, glad to hear that Houston's not going to be completely inundated like it's been in the past with other hurricanes. So glad to hear that. Ozenfat Backstros is here. What's going on? And Carlos Cejas says, just came from the pool. That's awesome. I have been watching a show on, I don't know what channel it's on. It's not Great American Country, the GAC network, because for whatever reason, the GAC network got dropped from my in-laws' dish lineup. So I haven't been able to watch that. I've been missing it. But there's been a show called Pool Kings. You guys ever watch it? Or Insane Pools? I'm not sure. There's probably like 4 or 5. There's like 3 or 4 channels that all provide like the exact same type of programming. So if one has a show about pools, the other channel has a show about pools. If one has a show about like crazy rehabs, the other channel has a show about crazy rehabs. Anyway, I've been watching about insane pools, and I really want to have a pool. I've never had a pool growing up. It was something that like only the rich kids had. So like, we never had a pool, but I do remember living in apartment complexes where we had pools, and man, I loved that. I would spend summers. My mom would just drop me off in the morning, and then I think I would walk home, or she would pick me up. I don't remember what it was, but it was basically like I would be there like the first thing in the morning when it woke up, when it opened, and then like when I got hungry, then I came home, and I just felt like I lived like that the entire summer. It was awesome. Yeah. MC1796 is here. K. Michael says, it feels like 97 in central Michigan. I feel like if it feels hot in central Michigan, it's hot. That means it's hot everywhere. Dave is coming in from Wales. Laurel Martinez. Hey, Laurel, how's it going? Good to see you. Jody Runs is here. He says, good day. Gavin Braden says, yo, happy hour, everyone. Cheers to that. Jeff Elliott says, summer is still going strong in North Carolina, plus 90 again today. Yeah, I think that it's been like, I feel like it's been, we've been on a streak of plus 90 days here. Right? I mean, it's not that uncommon for it to be above 90 degrees, but when it's that and humid, so it just doesn't feel great. I normally run when it's been like 70 something degrees when I'm running, but like 98% humidity. So not hot, but it's just been uncomfortable. Today wasn't too bad. Corey Allen says, Liney's, welcome to Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Is that where these are from? Chippewa Falls? Oh yeah, they are. Awesome. I was doing some research on the Shandy, and I was like, where does the word Shandy come from? And Shandy just means a beer drink mixed with a non-alcoholic drink. So I was like, oh, okay. So I thought it would have a more interesting etymology, but it doesn't. So, but still a tasty drink. And what's funny is I do like the summer shandies from Leinenkugels. They're the first summer shandies I ever had. And then the local brewery here, Textile, does a shandy, and they're like, the description is, we take our regular something something beer and mix country time in it. And I was like, that just seems weird. It's like a weird combination, like a craft brew and like powdered lemonade, and like just so. I haven't tried that one yet. I don't know if I will. Like my window for, although I do love fruity wheat beers, and that's what I drink pretty much all year round these days, or like fruity IPAs, anything with a citra hop in it. Galaxy hop is good too, like those kinds of beers. But like my window of liking summer shandies is very, very small, and I think it's closing. That doesn't mean summer's over. I think it's gonna still be warm here, like deep into September, October, but my summer shandy window is closing. Dave says, on to the porters and stouts then. Yeah, I mean, once it gets cold, these days, that's the only time I'll drink a lot of porters and stouts is like when it's cold, because I just feel like that warms you up really well. Chan Zhao says, even a hurricane can't cool us down. It's still 100 in Texas. Well, I feel like Texas always keeps it 100. Whoa. But yeah, that I would be like, this is frustrating. A hurricane just came through and it's still 100 degrees. I'd be mad at that. JC says summer's almost gone, so jealous. I mean, it's not almost gone. I'm just saying like the really, really hot stuff is gone. Mike House says, hey yo, what's the hat? This is for Believe in the Run hat. So I ordered this. I've had this for a while now. I think I got it. Let's see. I think I got it at the end of the winter. So maybe like February or so is when I got this hat. I really like it. It's good to run it. It's a little bit warm because this is like styrofoam up here. But, classic trucker hat. This Boco. I like the Boco trucker hats. They make nice ones. It's been through the wash many times and still doing really well. So I like it. Steve says, successful run in the SL20. Oh man, as soon as I start reading something, it always jumps. All right, Steve says successful run in the SL20. Well, man, I'm not on top of things today. I gotta get my word of the day sound up here. He says only use them 4 times as I've injured myself twice before, running too fast on my toes with not enough warm up. Oh well, I'm glad it was successful today, and I'm sorry to hear that it's been hurting you previously. That's not cool. And you know what? And I know I gave the word of the day sound to Steve, but I do think I saw, where was it? Carlos said something about the SL20 earlier, saying that it has the SL20 in some sizes and colors for under $60. Yeah, I mean normally Amazon is not a place that I will go to find running shoes, because I'm really concerned that it's going to be a fake shoe. I don't have that like concern with like any other retailer, but with Amazon, like I just feel like I would never buy like a race shoe off of Amazon. I'm not saying it's wrong if anyone else did, but I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. But when you do find a shoe, I've bought shoes before. My first Asics in a long time, the Asics Dynaflight 2. That one, my first experience with Flight Foam, which would have been like 2017 or so. Maybe 2018. I bought that pair of shoes on Amazon for like $50 or so, maybe 60. So yeah, you can get some good deals. Jeff Bailey says, I did a hard interval workout in the SL20 today. 8x200. I really like them. That sounds like a fun exercise that day. Awesome. Corey Allen says, I joined Strava just for the Confusi Run Club. What a talented group. I'm all of a sudden mediocre. That's pretty funny. Lanier says, got lucky in Houston, and she was able to run this morning. Oh, that's awesome. Good. Martha says, I found one pair of Takumi Sen 6 in women's equipment on Amazon from a UK shop. They only made them in men's size. Anyone have feedback on that elusive shoe? There are people that keep telling me, hey, you got to try this Takumi Sen. And I'm like, they don't sell it in the US. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I have bought shoes on StockX before, but I'm not that interested in like importing shoes. That seems hard. It seems like a lot of work. Maybe I'm like overthinking it. Maybe it is simpler than I thought. But like the Takumi Sen, I don't know what's the difference. There are such very fine differences between like the SL20 and the RC2, for example. As far as I can tell, the upper is a little bit more race oriented on the RC2, and there's 2 millimeters less stack height of light strike midsole foam. So instead of like the 14 of the SL20, it's 12 millimeters. And I'm just thinking, 2 millimeters? Is that the difference between a race shoe and like a tempo day shoe? I'm not sure. So I have not looked at the Takumi Sen that much, and I just don't know how it's different from the RC2. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong, but I don't know. JC says, Louisianans only run from gators. Yeah, I've been hearing all the stories about people that are not evacuating, even though there were mandatory evacuation orders. And I was like, yeah, there's always people that aren't going to evacuate. But I can understand, I guess, people that don't evacuate from a hurricane. But I just feel like, man, Louisiana has been hit by so many hard hurricanes in recent memory that I just feel like, all right, hope I see you after the hurricane kind of thing. So I'd be concerned. But it seems like it did hit at Category 4. But then I feel like, what was it? The storm surge wasn't as bad as they were expecting. Like, I guess a 6-foot swell versus a 12-foot, which I feel like a 6-foot swell is giant. But man, I hope that the recovery is quick. I hear like 500,000 people don't have power. Mr. Random says, hello, my non-elite family. I hope all had great runs today. Oh, that's awesome, Mr. Random. I had a pretty good run this morning. I was worried that I would feel a little bit stiff because I ran in the shift yesterday. But I felt great. I ran in the Ultra Superior. I feel like the Ultras, whenever like things feel off, I feel like the Ultra is usually a good reset for me. I've been really enjoying them in that sense, and it felt great to run in them. So I'm feeling good. Hope everyone else has good runs too. Dave asks, how's the Derecho cleanup? I think we're in good shape. My brother got power back last week, and I'm not sure what the status is of internet backup at home. Cedar Rapids Public Schools, he doesn't teach in Cedar Rapids, but Cedar Rapids Public Schools are going to start this week. Did they start this week or is it next week? I forget. It's right around this time. And some of them, though, are going to be a little bit more delayed because they got substantial damage. I think that almost all the power has been restored. I think it's less than 1,000 people are left without power. I imagine all those workers are just going to go from there straight south to Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, to help after the hurricane. But yeah, I think it's in pretty good shape. A lot of people's roofs are still all jacked up, though. That's the big thing. So like the trees are down, are cleared. The power is restored, but now it's like now they're rebuilding. It has to happen. So, but I think most of the really immediate horror stories have been taken care of. So I think it's been a good recovery. I don't want to say quick, because I didn't have to live through that without any power or air conditioning. But it was a substantial amount of damage, and they're coming back. JP says, in terms of the hurricane, though, Lake Charles, Louisiana was hit pretty bad. I was watching some of the news on that. Yeah, it did look pretty insane with the winds. Carlos says, I recently, as in yesterday, discovered that the 10K is the only distance I don't like, and it's hard for me to hate running. What happened to you yesterday that did you have to do a time trial yesterday? Is that what it is? Chris Yao is here. He's late to the party, but he's here. Good to see you, Chris. Gavin says, no running in Belfast today. Absolutely miserable outside all day. I'm now enjoying happy hour in the gym with an ice cold amino acid drink. Ah, that sounds pleasant. Awesome. Roll B is here. Daniel M says, hola, amigos. What's going on? Roll B says, how do you compare the Shift versus the Ride 13? I'll give you a short answer because I hate to not answer a question, but I am going to make a video about it, so I won't elaborate too much. I think that the Ride 13 is a cushioned daily trainer. It kind of I think it lines up and stacks up pretty well with the Clifton. The Shift, I think, lines up closer to like a very tall Pegasus. So like they're different in that sense. Like, again, like the words that the companies use to describe their shoes are just completely unhelpful in actually describing the shoes. I don't know who writes it. I don't think it just feels a lot of times that the person who engineered the shoe is like saying one thing, and then the person that like writes like the website ad copy is like, yeah, but those aren't search engine optimized words, and they put in different words. And I'm like, but you're describing a product. You can't just pick and choose search engine optimized words. And so like that's where I feel like the Shift is like confusing to a lot of people. But I think it feels a lot more like a Pegasus. So it's like parts of it seem a little bit stiff, parts of it seem a little bit speedy, parts of it are cushioned. And it's kind of a weird combo of those things. But in terms of like where it leans in like the cushioned, slower, or firmer, faster, I think it's closer to where the Pegasus is than it is where like the Ride or the Triumph is. That's kind of how I would see those two. But I think they serve kind of the same use case. In terms of having a little bit more plushness, a little bit more comfort. Hence, like that's what the Stack Height does for making sure easy days are easy. So that's kind of where I would put it. Let's see. Ronan Reviews is here. Says hello. Let's see. Corian says praying for all those hit by Hurricane Laura. 150 mile per hour winds and 20-foot waves. Yeah, that's no joke. No joke at all. Kevin Bickerton says, cheers, Kafuzi from Wolverhampton, England. Awesome. Oh, no. I just changed the battery, though. I'll be right back. So, sorry about that. But when we're doing these things, every day when I sit down, I switch out to a different battery. And then I put the one that I just used back onto the charger. Let me get some focus. Sorry. All right. So, and then but this is, I don't know. I don't think this is an aftermarket battery. Or is it? I think it's an aftermarket battery. So this might be the one that keeps doing it. Maybe that battery's just dead. So maybe I need to get a new one. But, all right. Sorry about that. But Wolverhampton, England, I don't know England very well. I'm sure there are many towns, and even people from England may or may not know towns. But like, I feel like saying that one person, and I don't mean to disparage Wolverhampton, England at all, but I feel like if someone from England were trying to tease an American, that Wolverhampton, England is like the name. He's like, I'm from Wolverhampton, England. Let's see if that guy believes me. I don't know why that comes to mind. I'm going to have to look up Wolverhampton, England. It sounds like a charming town. Jody Run says, we had a pool and never want another one again. Too much effort to keep clean. I know. I'm not really good at taking care of things. But like, I'm like, I keep watching this Pool King show, and I'm like, I think I could take care of a pool. I mean, it's probably got a robot. You probably just get one of those robots that stays underneath the water and like just soaks up all like, isn't there like a Roomba type of thing that you put in the pool and it just does its thing all day long? And then you just got to measure the pH. I mean, I used to work in a lab, so like adding chemicals and stuff to tinker with the pH and taking water samples, I feel comfortable doing that. So I think I could take care of a pool. And if there's skimming that's necessary, I think I would actually kind of like that. It'd be like the water like suburban version of a Japanese Zen garden. Just like, gotta get these leaves out. Oop, that's a dead cricket. Like scooping out stuff from the pool. I don't know. I think I would like it. Maybe I'm just... at other times when I think about owning a pool, I feel like Clark Griswold in the pool. And I don't know. I laugh at myself about it. But I just think right now, maybe because it's so hot out, I just want a pool. Elena A is enjoying a Carback Love Street Blonde. That sounds delicious. I'm not familiar with that. Like Grant says, oh, you like pools, biking, and running? That's funny. Every time I watch, I'll tell you what, though, every time I watch like the Pool King show or whatever the other shows are that talk about like insane pools, one thing that I find just like absolutely infuriating is they always want to put fire in there and then a grotto. And I'm like, what the heck? Why? What's the obsession with the fire and also the grotto? Like maybe the grotto I kind of get, but like the fire thing just seems weird. It just seems like unnecessary. I mean, I guess having like a really fancy pool is ostentatious in and of itself, but having like a fire feature, it just seems like really ostentatious. But then I also think like they never make them like straight anymore. They're always like curvy and like these weird, like kind of like natural-ish looking shapes. And I'm like, but what if someone wants to swim laps? Not that I want to swim laps. I can't say that I've ever swam laps before. Have I? I think I went to like when we had a gym membership, my wife and I think this was before we had kids. I think I went to like a lap swim once in my life. And I made it a length. And then I was like, I was winded. I'm like, I'm done with this. I couldn't do it. But I do like swimming pools a lot. My wife loves swimming pools. Like her siblings call her one of the water baby of the family because she'll just get in a pool and she never wants to get out. I'm always like, hey, we've been swimming for like 3 hours. Maybe we should eat something. And she's like, let's just keep swimming. And I'm like, but I haven't eaten. My wife is always like that. I'm like, maybe we should eat now. I'm constantly reminding, and it runs in her family too. Like whenever I'm with them, I like when we were going to Cedar Rapids to help my brother-in-law to clean up, I would pack lunches. In the morning, I woke up early, grilled hamburgers and a veggie burger, so that way we could have food to eat while we were down there. Because otherwise, like they'll just go the entire day without eating. They're like food camels. Like they eat a big meal at dinner, and then it's like they never eat any other time. And me, I'm just like, it's been about 90 minutes. I'm gonna need to eat something. So, yeah. K. Michael says, love my Scooby-Doo kid pool as a kid. Awesome. Love that. Mark Chancoco says, it's 81 here in Florida, and that's cold. I mean, it's only 81 degrees. That's colder than it is. Or less hot than it is here. Amazing. Farah says, happy Thursday. Lily says hi to Mr. Cozy. Well, hi, Lily. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're staying safe down there and being nice to your mom and listening to whatever your mom says. Glad to have you here, Lily. Yeah, K. Michael says, wasn't 2007 at the Chicago Marathon when runners were dying for water due to the heat? I don't remember what year that was, but it was the year after it was really cold. One year it was 40 degrees, like the entire race. The following year, they like at like the 3 hour mark, maybe the 3.5 hours in, they started announcing over loudspeakers like the race is over, the race is canceled due to heat, and like people were still running, and they were like, what do we do? What do we do here? They got fire trucks, and the fire trucks would just spray their hoses from like they would extend the ladder and then spray the hoses down on everybody so that people could cool off. And a very smart ice cream company sent out a street team like right away and just started giving out ice creams to like samples to people at like the 6 mile mark. There's like that one last curb up one of the only hills, quote unquote, in the Chicago Marathon, right on like before you get to Columbus. So like at that spot, they were giving away ice creams, and yeah, it was hot. And the next year, I think it was mild, but yeah. But that's like October in Chicago. You really never know what you're gonna get. Let's see. Clark Yap is here. He says, "Hey, all, spring is just around the corner for us in the southern hemisphere. Can't wait for warmer weather. Thanks for the great review on the Endorphin Shift Co." Well, thanks, Clark. And yeah, I'm still having a hard time. There's two like global phenomena that I have a hard time with. One, the fact that it's an opposite season in another part of the world. Two is the fact that like the water will flush in the other direction on the other side of the world. I've never been to the southern hemisphere, but those are two things that I would like to experience. I would like to experience like being in like the middle of winter in Chicago and going somewhere where it's like the middle of summer. Now I've gone from like Chicago winter to like Florida, like Miami, Orlando, that kind of thing. But that's still like winter in Florida. I want to go to a place where it's like, yeah, it's summer here now. I think that would just be weird. And also maybe it's just because I loved watching The Simpsons growing up, that I want to see like the toilet bowl go the other way and salute it for some reason. Because that's what they did in that episode. Because they went to the U.S. Embassy. I don't know if you guys remember. They went to the U.S. Embassy, and in the U.S. Embassy in Australia, they had gone through like an inordinate amount of expense to make the toilets flush in the correct direction, and they demonstrated it for Homer, and he was like from sea to shining sea, and he saluted the toilet bowl, and like a tear came down out of his eye. I don't know if you guys remember that. Emma Wilhelm says, "Hey, y'all, made it to a live again. Awesome, good to see you." All right, I'm like way behind in the comments, so I'm gonna jump down. Sorry, everybody. Let me see where you guys are at. Lena A says, "Do you think now that you're a better runner, you won't be as winded while swimming?" Maybe since I've been low heart rate training, I think so. I also think that like I understand a lot better now, like the overall concept of pacing, and I think so. But like it occurred to me as I was swimming that one time in lap swim, just like a free swim. I don't know what's it called. Like not open. I know open gym. But like, and it's not adult swim. Is it called that? I don't know what it was called. But a time where you can just kind of go and swim in a lap if you wanted, in the pool if you wanted, and do laps because all like the lane thingies were out. And I tried slowing down, so I was like, I'm too winded. I can't do this. So on the way back, I did swim another lap. Is that considered the lap? The one a length is a lap, or is like out and back is the lap? I don't know. But on the way back, I was like, oh, I'll just slow it down. And then I felt like here with my arms, like my legs were just like slowly sinking. So I was kind of like going across the pool like this. So like splash, 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 and legs were kicking like down here. And I was like, this is not working. And I think after that, I got out of the pool. I was like, I'm done. I think I'm going to go jump on the elliptical for a little while. So, yeah. That was my like swimming experience. Maybe it would work better now because maybe I could swim longer now. I don't know. All right. Shannon says she's been doing PT every week, includes dry needling and lots of stretches and exercises. She says, "I'll be back." Awesome. Good work. Ines Dunbar says, "Kofuzi, you will need to get some lengths in if you're going to do that triathlon." I mean, it would probably be a very poor result, but can you imagine if like my first triathlon probably would be like a sprint triathlon, and I show up in a mountain bike from Walmart, having done laps in like an oblong pool with a grotto and a fire feature at it, and that was my experience. Yeah, I don't think it would end very well. I would probably want to get like a gym membership, someplace with like a real pool. A real pool. It sounded like I said whirlpool, but I meant to say real pool. JC says, I swim laps in a somewhat curvy pool. It's a lot of turns. Oh. Yeah, I don't know how to do that either. That's always been very intimidating to me. But I guess like I wouldn't need to really do that. I mean, doesn't one need to do that? Know how to do the flip turn thing to be able to do a triathlon? I wouldn't think so. Austin Allison said, I just found out it's Thursday. It is Thursday, right? Yeah. Okay. I was worried for a second that I got the wrong day. Yeah, not that it would matter that much. All the days are kind of the same for me right now. So like I could make a happy hour any day. I actually have been drinking a lot of beers lately. Past couple of days I've been trying to tone it back. So I'm like, I'm trying to also like recover a knee and stuff. So maybe I shouldn't drink so many beers. Let's see. Stevie76 says, we weren't looking to buy a house with a pool, but I'm glad we did because the kids love it, especially during lockdown. Yeah, one of my friends the ones that live in Austin. I visited them while I was down there earlier this year. They moved down to Austin and they got a house with a pool, and they were like, yeah, we spent a lot of time in the pool. Kids are jumping around, and they have a very beautiful home, and they've always had a very impeccable sense of home decor. And this home is no different. It's just a beautiful space. So I'm like, wow, I should have just gotten locked down there. I should have gone to your house. But I was very envious of that because I was like, our kids were like, at the time, we were like trying to go out and out for our daily constitutional, like 15 minutes of walking and dodging people on the sidewalk. So, yeah, I really wish we had a pool. I think it would be really nice. But then I also feel like now, like, I see through like my nieces and nephews, their Instagrams, because I follow them on Instagram. At least I'm following the ones that they let me see. I'm sure they have other Instagram accounts as well, but the ones that I see, like they're at like pool parties and stuff. Because like around here, there's a very mixed opinion of what is considered safe social behavior, and I felt like if we had a pool here, people would probably be like, "Hey, what's wrong with that guy? How come he doesn't invite any of the kids over in the neighborhood to his pool?" I feel like people would be really mad at me about that because like right now I would not be in a mood to invite like the neighborhood kids over. Like a year from now, hopefully I'd feel great about that. But like, so I don't know. I'd be like, yes, we have a pool. No, you can't come over. Yeah, I think that's what would end up happening. It would be a source of a lot of social anxiety for me. Let's see. JC says, poor breathing technique in swimming will spike your heart rate in a hurry. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand like the rhythm in terms of when to breathe and when you swim with your face in the water and stuff. But like, I kind of feel like my wife and I both, even though my wife is a very strong swimmer, I kind of feel like I would love to be able to get, I would want to get a coach for swimming. I mean, not even just to swim for a triathlon. Like I'd like to be able to swim like an adult. So, I think that's what I would want to do. Simon Evans says, I ran in Hoka Arahis for the first time in a while this evening. Is it just me, or do Hokas make you feel like you're working harder? I would say it depends on the Hoka. So some of them are much more cushioned. I've never run in the Arahi. I think that's is that the Stability Clifton? Right? But some of the Cliftons, some of the Hokas are very cushioned, and that does make me feel like I have to work harder for the same pace. But when I want to put on a Hoka, it's because I want, more cushion, or I want more protection, and I'm not necessarily looking for pace. The exception being the Rincon. So with the Rincon, I don't feel like it's making me work harder. I feel like I'm frequently like pulling back because it just wants me to go a little bit faster, I feel like. So I think it depends on which Hoka. Austin Allison says a whirlpool would be a bonus. Yeah, see, so when I watch those pool shows, I'm like all about it. When like they talk about like here's the whirlpool and all the jets and stuff. The swim up bar, I'm like, I don't like people that much that I want to have like people like at a swim up bar, but an outdoor kitchen I would love. I could deal without the fire feature. Although I would like a fire pit, like where I could put like real like logs in, but I don't want like the wall of fire on the infinity edge pool. Like that just seems like, I don't know. I like when you have that. What if you have that and your kids are growing up and like that's your pool? Like or do your kids just grow up dead inside? Like every vacation is like, this isn't any better than what we did in my backyard growing up. I just feel like that'd be where do you go from there? You know. Matt Legrand says, Matt's always so encouraging when it comes to me and like triathlon type questions. He says, you don't have to know where to go. You don't need to know how to do a flip turn for a triathlon, but I'll make you a video just in case you want to learn. I mean, I don't have access to a pool right now, so like, not yet. But I would like to learn. I feel like that would go a long way in terms of like if I were going to like a gym, it would go a long way in terms of me like just having some confidence there. Yeah. But I don't, I'm also like, I feel like, I don't know. That'll be like my version of like run walking. I'm like, I'm just never going to do a flip turn. I never learned. Maybe. Sean Marshall says, Kofuzi, you ever go back and look at shoes from like 10 years ago? What's your favorite and least favorite designs for the past? Like shoes 10 years ago, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but they re-released the Vomero like 4, and shoes from 10 years ago were absolutely hideous. They were just disgusting. I think the only ones that I really like today are the ones that people didn't run in, which is like the Air Max shoes, but like people didn't really run in those. So like the Vomero 4, I think it's paradigmatic of what shoes look like in 2010, but I think it's also just like a super gross shoe. You want chocolate chips? Okay. I don't need any. Thank you for offering.
Gave me some.
Oh, she did. She likes to give you snacks, doesn't she? Okay. All right. See you later. Are you hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm outside.
Oh, okay. She's been playing outside with chocolate. Makes sense. Mr. Random said he got talked into his first triathlon, and it was a 70.3, a half Ironman. That seems long, but I also feel like I don't know. I feel like I could do a long bike ride. I feel like I could do a long run. I feel like I could do those things two together. And I feel like as long as there's swimming, might as well make it a lot of swimming. And I guess like the longer the run, the more chance I have to like make up for my deficiencies in the other sports. But I don't want to get too ambitious about it. Martha says, we had a rectangular pool when I was growing up in LA and had swimming lessons. Glad I know how, but never loved it. Oh, that's interesting. Travis Rogan says, you can get a styrofoam thing that goes between thighs to keep legs afloat. We used them in high school swim team back in the day. I think I've seen those. My daughter has them at her swim school that she used to go to. She's a pretty good swimmer. At least I think. I mean, I don't know. She never was on a team, and I never saw like other kids her age compete. But I feel like she's a pretty good swimmer. I like to think that she gets it from her mother. MC1796 says, hey, I just saw that you follow my local track club on IG, Kofuzi. Oh, do I? Awesome. Sean Marshall says, I love this subject. I wish Saucony would make a modern performance version of the Jazz, and Nike would do a version of the original pegs that could hang. I mean, that would be kind of cool. I would like to see that. I mean, for the longest time, I was saying that ASICS should do a new Onitsuka Tiger. But then, like, the Meta Racer came out, and I was like, that'll do. I like it. Because I was like, give me a Protro. So they do that, like, with basketball shoes, right? Like, they do, like, early Kobe's, where you can actually play in them. They're not just, like, yet another set of, like, Jordan 1s. Like, there were basketball shoes, like, using the same design, but, like, with modern materials. I was like, let's investigate that. I was like, I like that idea for running shoes. I feel like that's something that should happen. The one shoe that I'm really wishing that Saucony would make is an adult's version of a kid's shoe. It's basically like a kid's Jazz, but the outsole looks like Lego blocks, and it just looks amazing, or like Minecraft or Pixels or whatever you want to call it, and it just looks amazing. And I would love to have that pair of shoes, like just making it an adult size. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, I haven't run in the Arahi, but highly cushioned shoes can make it seem like you're having to work harder, especially if you're trying to run fast. Yep. K. Michael says, why can't they make Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman running shoes for adults? Flash would be a hit for a Big Bang Theory show. I buy you a pair Aquaman shoes to go with your future pool. I mean, Adidas did that, didn't they? Well, they kind of did. They did a create like the AMD series. Adidas made for you. What was that? AM4, whatever. They had like a London version, a New York version. It was basically the same shoe, just like slightly different uppers. And towards the end, before they like kind of like ditched that project, they had like Atlanta Braves version or something like that. They had weird, like lots of different weird versions. I think they were just trying to see what they could sell. And they did have a comic book version, but it was like just like basically like comic book pages on the upper, not like individual ones. But I think that would sell. That'd be interesting. Steven Gersdorf wants Prefontaine Nike waffles. Those are pretty. Those are. Let's see. Chris Georgialakis says, having a sea nearby might be better than a pool, I think he's talking about, as I don't have to pay for it. Yeah, open water swimming, that is something that's kind of terrifying for me, because I've never really seen it done before. I see the people training for the triathlon in Chicago down by like, what's it, Oak Street? So I see that, and that's like the closest thing I've ever like seen to people open water swimming. But like when I go swim in Lake Michigan, like I never go swim at it, So, let's see. Oh, I just jumped comments. Charlie Edwards says maybe new versions of old shoes could be a thing. Adidas and Nike have been big on that in the last few years with the football boots. Oh, have they? See, I would love to see like a reimagining of the shoes. Not just like a straight, because like remember like Hoka did the Clifton one and they re-released it, and I think they tried to make it the exact same shoe. And that's an interesting idea, but I like the idea of taking an even older shoe, because at the time I think they were only on Clifton like 4, maybe 5. But I love the idea of taking like an even older shoe, like a very early Pegasus. And turning that like just instead of like whatever the original outsole was, but put whatever would be like the modern day equivalent of that kind of outsole in there. I think that would be kind of cool. And just call them Protros. So like don't really intend them for racing or running, but see if people run in it, Arnold Allen says, go ask Emma Abrahamson about the open water swimming. Yeah, I've seen that she was training for a triathlon. I think that's pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to follow up on her training though. Very cool. Chris Georgialakis says 10 to 15K on road and 1K at sea is my favorite training day, as you don't need stretching. Yeah. Do people do that though? Because like you don't normally do the swimming it's swim, bike, run. But do people do that? Because I feel like those would be two like enjoyable activities to put together. I feel like putting anything with bicycling is not a good combo. Although lately, since we got my daughter the new bike and since I got a bike, my daughter and I have been doing about 2 miles every day after my run. So I'll go run. By the time I get back in the morning these days, she's up. And then I'll pretty much just, put on a shirt and then we'll go for a bike ride. So I do kind of like that. Like not a workout because I'm going with an 8-year-old, but it's very relaxing to do that. So I've kind of been liking that. Let's see. Frank Huller says, swimming in the ocean is easier than swimming in fresh water? Is it because of the salt? It makes you more buoyant? I'm not sure. I wouldn't know. T. Davis says, today I picked up pairs of old Solar Boost, Solar Drive, and Gore-Tex Supernova from Marshalls for $35 a piece. Those are some bargains. Some good bargains. Corey Allen says, seriously, why are light up running shoes for adults not a thing yet? I would name them the Firefly. Ever since I had kids, I'm like, where's the adult size of this? Like, especially Skechers, right? Because Skechers makes a lot of like the kids light up shoes these days. Well, a lot of brands still do, but like Skechers makes a lot of them. Why don't they just make an adult version too? Then I could be like, I want to be matchy with the kids and the shoes, like when we're going out. Not that we go out like with my kids, but like, when we're like family time, I would love to have light up shoes. I think that'd be awesome. Lanier says, I did one sprint try, 300-meter swim. I overestimated my swim ability. People really get really annoyed when they have to swim around you. Oh, yeah. I'd feel very self-conscious about that. Yeah. And then I keep hearing stories about people that get like kicked or punched, or like if you're doing something annoying to someone when they're swimming, they'll like slap your foot or whatever, or like flutter their feet in front when they're in front of you. Like, I don't even understand. I'd be like, I'm just trying not to drown, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I've heard some stories. That's a little bit intimidating as well. But I feel like as long as I'd be the guy that's like, I don't know why that guy. Everyone's here. And there's one guy over here. What's up with that? That'd be me. 'Cause I'm like, I just don't want to be in anyone's way. I don't want to piss anybody off. I'll just see you guys go on ahead. I'll see you later. Metal 37 says, what are the least expensive shoes you run in lately that you really liked? SL20. Because that one starts. I mean, the color version that I had was $120, but like the other colors are $100, and now you can get them for really cheap. So that's definitely the one. Rainrunner says, I've also been skeptical about Skechers. Almost got the Razor 3 on sale, but just didn't like how it looked. I feel shallow. It's okay. I got a pair of the Razor 3, and that also kind of ties in with Meadow 37's question too. I got a pair of the red Razor 3. I just feel like it looks like a clown shoe. Like if they were like a clown police academy kind of movie, and they had to run and train in the mornings, like they would switch out of like their clown shoes and put on like the red Razor 3s and run in that. And but it was on sale at Running Warehouse for like 50% off, so I picked up a pair then. It's a good shoe. I like it. It has the word speed on it, which is kind of like weird because I don't think of it as like a pure speed shoe. It's to me more like, it's not quite a daily trainer that can go fast, but I don't also consider it like a speed shoe. So it's like, it kind of sits in the middle a little bit. That Hyperburst is just really nice, so it can do a lot of things. But there are so many people have some very strong opinions about it. But the new version, the Razor 3 Plus, I think just has like, I think it's pretty much the same shoe, a little bit more substantial of an upper, I think more padding, and they deleted the word speed. So that might be one to look at. Let's see. Real Kazuki Shikimori says, have you ever run in any of the Adidas 4D sneakers? I have. They're not great. I have ones that are Star Wars themed. Parts of them glow in the dark. That's pretty cool. And I do like to walk around in them. They're very comfortable casual shoes. They're not like super cushy like Boost, but like you spend a day walking around it and you're like, oh, my feet feel good. So that's kind of how I feel about the 4D. Running in them, they're ridiculously heavy. Jody Runs, not helping with some of my anxieties here, says, you get on the back of someone near feet to reduce drag and easier to swim. Be prepared to be punched, kicked, pushed underwater as you go around buoys. It's carnage. That's pretty much what I'm expecting. Yeah. Matt LeGrand says, Clown Academy, best movie idea ever. I was a big fan of the Police Academy movies. My dad would take me to watch those. I think I was probably a little bit too young to be watching them, but he took me to them. I don't know if he enjoyed them either. A lot of my memories growing up are of my dad taking me to places, and I have no idea whether he enjoyed it or was miserable or what. He was just there, but he was very accommodating. Yeah. Let's see. Franklin Hillier says the Boston version of the Razor 3 is particularly ugly. There's a Boston version? I've never seen that. Huh. Martha says, I found Hyperburst too mushy when I tried on a pair of Skechers. Maybe I tried the wrong shoe. Does it vary a lot? I'm not sure. I've tried the Razor 3 and the Speed Elite, and I think it's pretty similar between those two shoes, but the amount that they use is different, and I think it behaves a little bit differently depending on. So yes, I think it can vary. But the way that I think of the Razor 3 is that it's kind of like a not as good DNA flash. So I feel like the DNA flash, because like the way that Hyperburst is created, like it's like they'd use that same process. It's like a nitro foam, but it's nitrogen and carbon dioxide as part of the extrusion process, whereas DNA flash is just nitrogen. I'm guessing that makes it more expensive. So the two foams behave very similarly. The Hyperburst wasn't quite as lively as DNA flash, so I think it could work better in a very like a high stack height shoe, but I don't think that it's probably as, I don't think I would like it as much in less stack height than the Speed Elite, for example. Like I mean, I don't know who they made that shoe for, but like it's not a marathon shoe. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Jared Crandall says, I got a hookup for some Alpha Flies today. He bought 8 pairs for family and friends. That's a lot of money on it. That's a lot of money on shoes at one time. That's insane. Let's see. Yeah, Rainrunner says Skechers Performance running shoes have such ridiculously long names. It's crazy. I forget who posted it. It was either Jamie or it was either Ben Johnson. They've both been posting about the Razor 3 Plus. But like the full name of the Skechers like the Razor 3 is like Skechers Performance Go Run Razor 3 Hyper Plus or something like that. There's like eight words in it. And I tried to I was like, are you serious? And I counted out like 1, go, like go run, 2, Razor, and then the third word was 3. So I counted like each one out, and like Instagram didn't like the comment. It thought I was like spamming it. So it didn't get to post, but like, yeah, it's like 8 words in it. And some of them have ride, and some of them are go run, and some of them is go run ride. I mean, I always try to counterbalance that with like, well, the Pegasus is technically like Air Zoom Pegasus Turbo, so like those are long names too that don't make sense, all the words. So I don't know, but it is a lot of words. Let's see. All right, let's do one more. Martha says, I like the Hyperion Tempo midsole, and I'm shocked when people say it's just Hyperburst. Nitrogen versus carbon infused, for one thing, is that correct? It sure feels different. Yeah, I think it feels different too. I think it feels very different, but I also sense the similarities in the foam. I mean, they look similar and they feel similar. I think both of them have nitrogen. I think that if I'm understanding it correctly, the DNA Flash in the Tempo is nitrogen only, and I think Hyperburst is nitrogen and carbon dioxide. That's what I understand. But I do think that they feel different. I agree with you. I'll back you up on that. Yeah. So, Martha says the Skechers shoe names rival that endless marathon name from yesterday's live stream. The Michael Scott, Dunder Mifflin Scranton, Meredith Palmer Memorial, Rabies, Pro-Am, Race for a Cure. There's another word in there. I almost had it. But I'll go look that up. But I'm going to end that on that note for today, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll have a video. I'm not sure what the video is going to be on, but so we may or may not have a video tomorrow. It's Friday, so maybe we'll have a video, maybe we won't. But we'll do another live stream in the afternoon for sure. It might rain tomorrow, so it might be a rainy live stream. But in either event, for those of you who have survived the hurricane or just narrowly missed it, hopefully you guys are doing okay, staying safe out there. Hopefully everyone's staying safe out there, and I'll see you guys